Yay! Good morning. Good morning, Nancy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so excited. I feel like this is sort of the first official day. I don't know, just because we had that first day, which was Monday, right? And Monday, I had to come on at noon because the kids were leaving after Thanksgiving break. And so I was running late, of course. So the first day was at noon. And then yesterday we had our Cyber Moon Day, all day makeys, which was super fun. I hope that you got to, well, I know Nancy and Alba was here. I don't know. Good morning, Elizabeth. It's nice to see you. So we're doing a stamp down to Christmas, and really it's going to be super simple. I don't know how many of you remember World Watercolor Month in July. Excuse me. And I came on every day at 11 and we did a splash your stamps and just did a little watercolor with stamps. And I had such a great time. It was such a good way for me to start my morning by coming out and kind of getting prepared and just, having a little bit of, I don't know, I call it exercise really. It's like doing a stretch or something. So, I really hope that this is going to be the start of something great that I'm planning on doing some challenges pretty much, not every month, but, a lot throughout 2020. And I figured this would be a great way to kind of get things kicked off by just doing a stamp down to Christmas. And so what we're going to do, or what I'm going to do, and I hope that you'll join me, is we're going to just take a favorite stamp and we're going to stamp it and we're going to color it. And, and then I might talk about different ways we could use the image or things we could do with it. But really, it's just going to be about coloring an image. And I'm going to be using an image from one of our different artists every day. Yes, Jan. Actually, so I'm interrupting myself here because I just saw Jan's comment and I wanted to welcome Cheryl and, of course, Jan. I have shrink plastic right here. I haven't done it yet. I'm not going to do it for the coloring portion of this, but I am going to do it. Now, this right now. So anyway, let me just backtrack for a second. So we're going to stamp an image from a different RubberMoon artist every day, and then we're going to color it. I don't know if I'll do more than one. In this case, I'm going to do more than one. More than one coloring. It's stamped a couple different ways, as you can see. But sometimes I might color them with pastels. I might color them with paint. I don't know. I mean, I'm going to do it a little bit different every time, or just whatever kind of moves me. But right now, this morning, we are going to be working with one of the new Mary Engelbright images. Actually, I saw a card by Deb Davison, and she used the stamp, and it was so darn cute. I just wanted to color it myself, and I haven't yet. So. Again, this is Mary Engelbright's, I think it's comfy chair or cozy chair. I can't remember the name of it, but that's nothing new. You're not here to test my memory for names. So, oops. Anyway, shedding. So I have this stamp stamped here on mixed media paper. Okay, this is Strathmore's mixed media paper. It comes in a brown tablet. I would show it to you, except for my tablet is like literally 30 by 22 or something like that. It's really big. So I just cut a small piece of mixed media paper. It's at 3 by 4 is the size of this card. So you can see the size of the stamp. Anyway, I stamped this in black Moonlight Duo ink. So I just took the black side and I took the ink to the stamp this way and stamped it on mixed media paper. Okay. On this one, this is stamped on a small watercolor card. And it is also, I think this card is a 3 by 5, I think. No, I'm sorry, 3 3.5 by 4 7/8. So approximately 3 by 5, 3.5 by 5. And it is also stamped in Moonlight Duo ink, only I just used this Heavenly Pink because I wanted it to be really, really pale. Okay, so I decided that, hi Puff, nice to see you, good morning. I decided that I wanted to do this a couple different ways, but we're going to use colored pencil on both and some marker on at least this one. I might do marker and pencil together on both. I don't know. But here you can see I have my Prismacolor pencils. Well, mostly this one's a charcoal pencil, which doesn't need to be in there. But these are just regular Prismacolor colored pencils. And I have a few different markers. These are alcohol-based markers, so they're similar to a Copic. I don't really own any Copic markers. I have a few. That's something I'd like to maybe, invest a little bit more in this year when I'm shopping for art supplies. But right now I have, hi Maxie, yay. Right now I just have some Tria markers and some Prismacolor markers. They are dual ended. Actually, the Trias are even triple ended. You have a bullet tip. You have this extra fine tip hidden in this other, well, it's not really hidden, but a lot of people don't necessarily know, in this extra cap. So you have two caps on one end and the chisel tip at another. I'm going to tell you, I've had these markers forever and ever. They are, I don't even, they're by Letraset. I've had them for years and years and years. They still, most of them work pretty darn well. They are refillable, but I don't even really know if they make them anymore, to be honest. Jan, do you know if they still make Tria? They used to be pretty darn popular back in the day when I was younger. But anyway, I still really love them. And they work the same. They were similar to, the similar ink to Copics and or to Prismacolor. So all of them will work hand in hand. The reason I chose to do this type of coloring is because this is how Mary colors her illustrations. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I am going to put my base layer down with alcohol marker first, and then working a little bit lighter for the most part, and then I'm going to layer on colored pencil after. Okay, so I'm just going to dig right in and start coloring. If anyone has any questions, if you have questions, I mean, most of you probably already know about Copic markers or alcohol markers, but of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me here or in the comments or message me, whatever. And there's a lot of, I know that especially when you get a bigger group together, there's a lot of people, watching, such as Jan, that have a lot of knowledge and experience with art materials and supplies. So often, if I can't answer your question, somebody definitely can. Now, ultimately, I'm going to want this heart probably to be red, but I wanted to base it in pink instead. Not only does that give richer layers, but I like to work a little bit lighter in my marker and then build up with my pencil. Hi, Emily. Good morning. Great to have you here. Hi, Juliet. So I'm just going to move right along. And like I said, if you have any questions, just holler. Well, don't holler. It won't do any good. Type hard. One reason for base layering this way is it makes the work so much quicker. And if you love colored pencils, this really will help the pressure that you end up feeling on your wrist. I do admit I love the little tiny tip of this Tria sometimes for these really, really small spaces. And I don't know, Jan, so I used my Moonlight Duo ink. I haven't had any problem, but you know, you never know. It could smear around. I've used it before though. I didn't heat set it or anything, and I only stamped this about maybe 20 minutes ago, half an hour, something like that. So I did let it dry for a little bit. And I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm answering Jan. Jan says, "What kind of ink did you stamp with? I found that the only ink that is reliable with Copics is Memento by Sukaneko." So I don't know. Like I said, I've only used my Moonlight Duo ink, although I used to use Ranger's whatchamacallit, archival ink a lot, but it does not work with alcohol markers. So I just decided to try the Moonlight Duos, and it's worked for me so far. Remember too, when you do your base layers with the pencil, I mean with the marker, with the pen, you don't have to color it all in perfectly. I mean, not that we're ever striving for perfection, but you know what I mean? Like you don't have to, if you like leave some little white spaces or anything like that, it's truly okay because you are going to be going over everything kind of, you know, generously with pencil. So I am running right over that ink, Jan, and it's not smearing, so I think that's a pretty good sign. Yeah, so I was just yeah, Juliet, this is one of the new Mary Engelbright chair stamps, and Jan had such a good idea the other day to to do it on shrink plastic, so I'm dying to do that. But I didn't really think I should try to do three color in, you know, three different images, so that's why I'm not doing it live here with you all. But we could do it in a Makey, a regular scheduled Makey. All right, so I'm not sure yet what color I want to do my, what's that, what's that called? The lining, or, you know, the edging, the stitching or whatever. I'm not sure what color I want to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and color in the actual background of the chair. And I'm using a dark gray because eventually I want this chair to be black or dark blue. So I am going to use this gray marker. And it's pretty dark, so it's almost black. I don't know. I might have chosen something a little bit lighter as a base color, but this will be fine. I find coloring to be so relaxing, and I love it because you know, it's something you can sort of just do really mindlessly and intuitively, and you can even do it while you're talking on the phone, while you're watching TV. Not that I generally do art while I'm watching TV, but I find that coloring is something I can do and divide my attention pretty well. So that's kind of the beauty of it too, is that you can, especially if you have a lot of other tasks, like if you're working a lot, being interrupted by, phone calls, emails, if you have kids. I remember when my kids were little and I was, still trying to get my art business and everything going. And I was actually in school getting my art degree at the time. I would be able to work on projects and, get a lot of coloring done, even while I was like in the middle of cooking dinner or just random things like running the kids around, because I could do a little bit and then I could stop and come back to it and, not really not skip a beat. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, even if I got interrupted, it wasn't ruining anything. So coloring is it's not only such a great stress reliever, but you can actually feel like you're accomplishing something in the studio just by doing a little at a time. At least that's my humble opinion. And again, like I said, since we are going to be layering with pencil over the top, I can use this small little detail nib to really kind of get up close. And if I leave little white areas, that's completely okay. Keep in mind that your alcohol markers, if you are going to attempt to be coloring images, the alcohol markers are going to be much, much better than any kind of water-based marker as far as like streaking, layering, and things like that. Not that you can't color in with water-based markers, you can, but you will not get the same results. So I just want to make sure everybody is, kind of aware of the differences in markers. I wish I could speed this up. Oh, courting. Thank you, Jan. I knew I couldn't think of a word, but yeah, that was a while ago. I feel like I'm just blurting out random stuff. I always think about that too when I'm talking to all of you and I'm just going along and I'm kind of in my own little world, coloring or painting and explaining what I'm doing. And then I look over at the comments and I respond to somebody. I feel like you must think I'm crazy. I'm like, what is she talking about? I'm sorry, I stopped for a second again to read those comments. And yeah, so Nancy says she votes for a Makey tutorial on the shrink plastic. So definitely, I do want to tell you all while I'm thinking about it, a couple things. And I'm so upset with myself for not mentioning this yesterday, but a couple things. So first of all, for those of you who are considering taking Creative Jumpstart, that's going to be starting January 1st, but signups are open as of yesterday. And I think there is a special going on. So if you sign up for Creative Jumpstart early, there is the whole early bird special. It is really worth it. I'm not just saying that because I'm one of the teachers, which I'm super honored and excited to be one of the teachers. This will be my third year. Natalie Kalbach has been putting together Creative Jumpstart for like 9 years now. And this is my third year to be teaching in it, which, like I said, I'm super honored and excited to be part of it. But I would tell you it's a great, great deal, even if I wasn't teaching in it, because you get like 30, or I think it's 30 or 31 artists. You get a different artist every day. It's just a 10-minute video. I think the maximum is like 10 minutes, and it's just ways to jumpstart your creativity. So it's a lot of different artists just showing, their specialties or just different ways that they like to use products and things like that. So really, I've had a lot of my friends and customers sign up for it, and they love it, and they do it again and again and again because it is such a great deal. It'll really expose you to a lot of different variety of, artists and techniques and things like that. Many of you who are on this thread right now have taken it. So yeah, again, I'm not, yeah, just anyway. So if you are interested in taking it and you did hear it from me, I would really appreciate if you would use my link to sign up, because we do get credit, for any people that sign up through our link. And let's see what else. And then the other thing I wanted to mention that I might have talked a little bit about it yesterday, but I didn't really get into it too much, is that Sarah Vuxen, the owner of 100 Proof Press, she is a good friend of mine, and I love her so much. We are going to be doing an envelope challenge in January. So we are working. I know we want to get going right away as far as starting to promote it and stuff like that, because I know that it's January is going to be here before we know it. So we're working on different things right now to let everybody know. And we're both going to have we're going to do a little Facebook page, and we're going to have a special hashtag and all that stuff. And we're both going to have a special product section on our website for things that we are going to be using during the envelope challenge. And it's just something we're going to do, kind of run together and share each other's stamps and stuff like that. So we're really excited about it. And yeah, so I wanted to mention both of those. So be on the watch out for that, and definitely sign up for Creative Jumpstart, whether you use my link or not. I really appreciate it either way. So yeah, anyway, I got my base layer on this. Okay. And now I just need to decide what color I want to do the cording and the feet. So, I don't know. That's a great question. I'm stumped right now for color. My instinct kind of is to do them black, but I'm not going to. I think I'm just going to base them with this yellow color, because that way, no matter what I do, I can make them look like wood if I want to, but really I could change it up if I need to. And I think I'll do red cording just to match the pillow, I guess. I don't know. Just going to go with it. I'm going to try not to fuss. Yesterday, I know in my lives, it really slowed me down trying to decide on what colors. And then I felt like a big doofus. Like, it's not rocket science. It's okay. Just choose something. I think Jan is the one who finally was like, yeah, just do that. And I was like, okay. All right, so at least now I got all my base layers done, and it's pretty cute. Like, right? It looks pretty cute, even just the way that it is. Oh no, hi Robin. No apologies. It's okay. Huh. Let's see. Oh, I was reading the comments again, so sorry, I got lost in thought there. Anyway, it looks pretty cute, and I think that this would be acceptable, right? So even if I wanted to just color it this way and let it go, I feel like I could do that. But we're not going to. We're going to push it a little step further. And I feel like that is sort of what takes your coloring from, like, wow, that's cute, to like, your coloring is really awesome. I'm not necessarily saying my coloring is super awesome, but it really will add to the whole look of it, right? So here we started with this limey green, and I want to make my leaves a little more, you know, gradient, have a little more value in them, because really no matter what you do, I've told my students this, and I actually learned this from my painting teacher, and it's something she taught me, and I'm going to pass it on to you, and that is that color gets the credit, value does the work. So really, building values is what makes things more wow. It's what's going to catch your eye. The reason I'm kind of hemming and hawing here is I did want to tell you the other thing that is great for having an extra RubberMoon art stamp nail file, or art, I should call it an art file because I don't use this on my nails, is that you can use this to sharpen up your pencils without breaking out the sharpener. You want to rub it on there and just scrape away a little bit of the actual lead, and that can sharpen them so you don't have to pull out your sharpener every time. But if you do that, I would recommend having a file only for your pencils. Yes, and Jan said you can definitely keep adding on with marker. You know, if I wanted to go in and layer marker, that's the wonderful thing about using the alcohol markers, is because they blend so well, but you do get a little bit different of a look with the pencil that you don't with the marker. So it kind of depends if you want to have that sort of colored pencil look. The other great thing is that you can also go back and re-blend with your markers. If you can kind of see that where I laid down the dark green, but if you want a nicer, smoother transition, you can take that color again, or a different color, I would recommend a lighter color, and you can actually use these to smooth them out a little. They also make a clear marker that's called a clear blender that will blend that as well. Okay, so I'm just going to keep going like this. And of course, the other thing you could do, like right now, I'm just making sort of a nice little gradient, but you can add small details. So if I wanted to do little stripes on my leaves, or polka dots, of course, that's where you could add things like that. On this one, on my flowers, you saw how I put that little ring of yellow sort of around the center of the flower. And honestly, it doesn't really have very much of a differential there. So, you know, that's when I might want to go in with maybe another shade, or I don't know. I can't really find the right marker right now, but I could pull this back out and let that sort of bleed out of the outline, and then go in and smush it with a little more color again. So kind of just like with anything that I do, whether it's pencils, paints, whatever, it's all really about the layers. I'm going to go in here with a little bit of this sort of poppy red and deepen the centers of my flowers. If I want to give it a little bit more highlight, then that's when I'll take my white pencil. One thing that you will want to make sure is that your white pencil is clean. Remember to keep again, you can use your file or just a piece of scratch paper to make sure that all the grunge is cleaned off the tip of your pencils. A lot of times you want to do that while you're moving through, and you can see you can get a really nice little highlight area with that little bit of white pencil. So all this stuff will just take your coloring from sort of like nice to fabulous. Well, it's not fabulous yet, but you know what I mean. All right, so I'm going to just keep going and move it along. And I'm actually going to take even a darker color, maybe like a purple or like a dark. Yeah, I think I'm going to try this purple color. And I'm just going to give a little touch to that edge to deepen that a little bit. And then I'm going to take my red again and sort of smush it again. It's not going to read as purple, but it's going to give me a nice shadow there. And I might want to do that here too, again, to just make it look a little more dimensional. All right, and again with the white pencil for a tiny bit of nice highlight. And remember to, if you're working with pencils, really sort of pay attention to the amount of pressure that you're putting down. You don't want to go in and like press really hard. And also it's important to always sort of make sure the tips of your pencil are, I don't really know how to explain this, but smooth and don't have too much, too hard of a point unless you're going into a very, very fine detail area, because sometimes you'll put down some marks that aren't so easy to pull back out. So I always start sort of with a light hand and work my way up, or work more pressure. Pushing out all of the tooth of the paper is called burnishing. So you're going to, I can't talk. You're going to slowly start burnishing if you want that look, that kind of very heavily colored look. And you can just see how it's sort of starting to come to life. If that's too much of a highlight area, then of course go back in and soften it up some. Okay, and so you can see the difference kind of just happening right before your eyes, right? Yeah, so Jan is saying for your Copics, you want to use your blender to blend. The waxes and the colored pencil will ruin your Copic tips. And, that is probably true. I literally have been doing this technique for years. It's actually the way I started even doing stamping, was with all colored pencil and marker. And I was trying to look for the sample I had around from years ago that was all colored pencil. I thought I had it here, but I was going to show it to you, but I must have moved it and I hid it from myself, probably in plain sight. But if I run across it, I will definitely make a note to show it in one of these coloring sessions. But yeah, I don't want to give anyone advice that will ruin their markers. But like I said, I have been doing this for years with the Prismacolor, and so far, I probably have ruined some of the nibs, I won't lie, but mostly they've worked really well doing this kind of technique. But yeah, the blender, the clear blender, which I don't think I have one here, do I? Maybe. Oh yeah, this is a Prismacolor clear blender. You can see it will get sort of dirty on the tip, but as long as you clean it off by, rubbing it on a piece of scratch paper, it should be fine. So yeah, that's going to be one of your best bets. The other great thing about a clear blender is that often you can use it sort of as an eraser. And I don't really know how else to say it, but a lot of times if you have a good clear blender and it has a decent amount of blending juice in there, I don't know if this one does. Hold on. You can actually pull color out. Let's see if you can, yeah, this one's dry, but it will remove a little bit of your actual marker. So that's kind of good to know. I don't have a good clear blender. I guess I'm going to have to order one because mine is ancient for real. I'm not the happiest with my doily because I didn't really want it to be quite so yellow. I should have used more of like a little cream color, but it's okay. It will still be cute. And kind of course, keep in mind, and I'm going to try to push through this now, keep in mind that coloring an image like this won't take very long. It's taking a lot longer. Probably seems like slow as molasses to you all, but it really won't take long to do an image like this if you just are, you know, digging right in and getting to it and not chit-chatting so much as I am. When you want to make nice gradients, you just really want to get a little bit more pressure and then lighten your pressure up as you move along. So like here, I want it a little darker. I'm going to use a little more pressure, and then I'm just going to lighten my pressure as I move through the area that I want to color. And then of course I showed you, you know, moving that color with the marker again, but you can also use another shade of pencil. So if I had this color pencil, I could easily just go over that again and burnish it. So more than one way to, you know, color a stamp. I was going to say more than one way to skin a cat, but you know, that expression's pretty horrific when you think about it. And I'm like, I don't want even one way to skin a cat. So I like color a stamp much better. And I'm going ahead and doing this with my marker because even if it's already, this marker is pretty old and sort of probably on its last legs, so to speak. So if I mush up the tip, I don't care that much. And then finally, I will go in with my black and sort of hit some of those deeper areas, like around some of the flowers and hearts and stuff like that. The only good thing about doing this live and not showing my face when I color is that I have a horrible tendency to stick out my tongue when I color. So I'm really glad that this gets to be behind the, that I get my face is behind the camera. And but I probably shouldn't have told you because now you're going to know my secret. but I think I got it mostly filled in pretty well. Of course, I would go back in and if I was making this for an actual card or, as part of a piece of artwork, whatever, I would definitely go back in and just look at it to sort of see where, if I have any areas that are not smooth or, that I feel need to be darkened. And then finally, of course, the cording will need to be addressed. And I would probably do some little highlight areas on that. Not only will it help it look like the image, or, like the chair is a little bit worn maybe, but it would only make sense that it would have some of that. So I'm going to put some white, and then I'm going to use my red again. Since I used the pink as the base on the pillow and the pink as the red as the base on the striping on the cording, I'm going to go ahead and turn it mostly red. And I still need to kind of do a little bit of the insides of my flowers. And then my little feet. So I can make these look like wood, or I could just give them a nice little gradient. I would probably run a little bit of darker color underneath because it would be shadowed underneath there. And make them look a little more rounded. A little bit of white on that front part. I don't know. This is something I would probably want a little more time to mess around with, but and voila. And that does look very merry, doesn't it? I need to address these feet still, I think. But it's close. And that, my friends, is Mary's chair, colored pretty much in her style. Like, it's not saying that my coloring is Mary-ish, but that is how she colors her images, is with a marker base and a pencil layering. I was trying to read I'm laughing because I'm trying to read the comments. And yeah, the pink cording was cute. I liked it, but it's different if you see it in person because you still can see some of that pink showing through. So it definitely informs it, but all right. So the reason, and I won't take tons of your time doing this whole one, but one of the things I love, so of course I could paint this, but one of the things I love about stamping in a very pale color, okay, and again, this is on watercolor paper, so it has a nice tooth, but you can see this, and I'm just going to do a couple pieces of this. If you stamp in a really pale color, you can overcolor to where it does not even look stamped at all. And that's, that I love that. I love doing that with watercolors, and I love doing it with colored pencils. So I've already stamped this in this very pale pink. So I can literally go over it. Okay. And I'm just using straight colored pencil right now. Okay, and that was just regular pink, I think, hot pink Prismacolor. And now I have this mulberry. I kind of wish I had a magenta. Oh no, this is magenta. Let me see. Yeah, I'm going to use this magenta color. Well, let's see. The mulberry is a little purpler. The magenta is a little more red. It doesn't really matter. There we go again. Anyway, so I'm going to use this little magenta, and I'm going to give it another layer. And hi, Heather. How are you? I hope you've had a good season so far. It's nice to see you. I keep wanting to come visit you in Indiana, and I've gone through there a couple times, but every time it's at the wrong time. So hopefully I will make it one day because I would love to come see you in your shop. Anyway, I'm layering it up again with more pencil. Now, this paper, like I said, is watercolor paper, and it's cold pressed, so it does have a little bit of a tooth to it. So it can be a little trickier to get super smooth. But again, burnishing is sort of pushing out all those layers of paper. And I'm just going to keep layering over my color. Again and again. Go in there like I did before with some white. And back again. And then I would probably go ahead and even take a darker color again. I don't ever really use black, but I would use a dark purple or dark blue or something like that, and just give not really an outline, but just maybe a little drop shadow. Here and there to again give it a little more dimension. And so you can see, if I keep going like that, this whole thing is just going to look very hand colored. It's not going to really look stamped, but you have your wonderful guidelines. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and since I did not do the feet necessarily how I wanted on this last one, I mean, it's fine. It's cute, but I'm going to do these feet, and I'm going to do them sort of a little bit of a wood grain, so you can see how I do that. I am going to take a marker in this case, and this is just an eggshell marker. Just the only reason I'm doing this is to sort of fill in the tooth of the paper a little bit with a base layer where I don't have to work it so hard. Any neutral color. I have like another like walnut color. That would have been great too. I just don't think I had it out here. Okay, a little bit of marker, like I said. And now I'm going to take, a couple shades of brown, earth tones. I probably don't even, I don't even know my earth tones because I hardly ever use them, but and I'm just going to layer in some different shades of brown. A little bit of white, burnishing it up again. And finally, I don't know, maybe some reflected color, like some yellow or something like that. Just a little bit. And finally, I need like a beige. Do I even own a beige? Well, not exactly. Let's see if this will work. Oh, beige. That's funny. And again, I'm just going to burnish that all together. Smush, smush, smush. And some dark gray or black. I know how to black pencil. I knew I had a black pencil out here. So you're just gonna, oh well, I feel like it's gonna be too dark. Maybe, no, I don't know. You just want to keep mushing those earth tone colors and putting some little different striations in them until you feel like you get it how you like it. Feeling like my colors are a little off, but well, heck, maybe wood tone feet weren't the best idea. I'll struggle with this more than anything because I guess probably because it's earth tones, right? All I can think of is a wood mounted stamp and how the wood looks on those. So I'm getting close, but it's a little mucky. So yeah, just keep playing with it till you get it how you like it. That might take me a while though. All right. Finally, one thing that you would want to have handy, and I don't have one over here, but I have one across the room, if that counts, is if you have like a blush brush or a soft brush. This is good because I've never used it. Really, something really soft. Like, I don't know if I would use this unless I was going to use it just for this, but you do want to have a soft brush where you can brush away gently your little shavings, or from your pencils. And I should have kept that handy because I know I have one. So I actually bought this. This is a super cheapo makeup brush, and I bought it just for doing this kind of thing. Okay. So there you have our stamp down from day number 1. I'm going to sit and still work on this a little bit. If you guys want to hang out and finish watching me color it, that's great. If you have places to go and people to see and things to do, I completely understand. I want to thank you so much for joining me for day number 3 of our Stamp Down to Christmas. Like I said, every day I'm going to be here coloring an image, and sometimes it'll be much quicker. Sometimes it might be a little longer. So different things I would do with this image. I would love to do this on shrink plastic. I think this would make such a darling card. Actually, if you look on our Instagram at RubberMoon, you can see Deb Davison did a darling card with the stamp. So there's so many different things, obviously, that you could do, and different sayings that you could use with it. So that's, I think each day when we color it, I'll just give you some different ideas of what I might do with it. And then I would love to see yours. So any of your coloring that you do from this month, please post it and share it. And you can hashtag it if you want with Stamp Down to Christmas. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, I love being here with all of you. Maxie Moon, I love you to the moon and back, and I will see you and talk to you all soon. Like I said, I'm going to just sit here and finish coloring, but I won't talk anymore. Well, I say that, but don't necessarily believe me, but mostly I probably won't talk unless you have a question.
Uh, all right, so I'm done. And so this, again, for those of you who are still here watching, if anybody is, so this is done pretty much primarily all in pencil, okay? The only thing I used a little bit of marker on was these feet here, and a lot of burnishing, a lot of pressing out the tooth of the paper. But it definitely looks, you know, hand colored. There's no stamp outline. And so that's kind of fun, a fun way to play and experiment. And then, of course, here you have your marker and pencil layering. So either one of these would make a great get well card, or just a thinking of you card, or let's get together and sit and chat card. Definitely great for a journal page too. So just however you think you would like to attempt that, and whatever you would like to use it for. Of course, even if you just want to color just for fun, that's okay too. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining me. It means the world to me that you would sit and watch me color, and hopefully it inspires you to break out all your tools and get makey. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you tomorrow at the same time, same channel. Thanks again. Mwah. Love you to the moon and back. Bye.